Our speaker tonight is Godfrey Vassallo. Godfrey is the Chief Technical Officer of Sicore Technology, a cybersecurity company doing work for the government. He is the senior designer for the hardware, firmware, and software. He was an R&D departmental head for Sperry, where he led teams of engineers who designed combat systems for the Navy and the Air Force. He also led a team that designed an automatic fingerprint identification system. He holds patents for medical imaging systems and computer center environmental monitoring and equipment tracking. With that, we welcome Godfrey.
Thank you. My presentation tonight hopes to give you an overview of the cybersecurity, cyber warfare landscape. And although this is typically a very technical discussion, I hope to present it in a fashion that's understood by civilians. And by civilians, I mean people who don't necessarily have a lot of technical expertise. So let's start. So what sort of problems is the world facing? There's cyber warfare, which is typically new, cyber crime, cyber espionage. Cyber warfare has already preceded real warfare, as I think people know, in Estonia and Georgia by the Soviet Union. Well, Russia, sorry. Cyber crime, we hear about it all in the newspaper, we read something all the time. Cyber espionage is also a huge problem for us meaning the US. And essentially, I'll just use the slides as a backdrop, but the intent of cyber warfare is to disrupt the communications and command and control infrastructure of the enemy before engaging in a kinetic, before the bullets start flying. And the intent, although it's not obvious, our defenses are tied to the internet in ways that a lot of people sometimes do not understand or are not aware of, even for short distances. And the military tries very hard to have their own networks, their own lines, but nonetheless, at times there are pieces that are on the internet which can affect command and control systems. Here are some examples that I alluded to earlier. Now, very often the country from which these attacks emanate, the government says, you know, it's not us, there's hackers. And so some of that is true, but it is known that countries do have divisions, military divisions, devoted to cyber warfare, including our own country. So this is a reality of today. You can see some of it in the newspapers. The first two examples, this last one. This last one is not quite the same as the first two in the sense that the last one took a lot of planning and a lot of cooperation with some of the vendors who made equipment. So it didn't happen by accident. Also, a lot of attacks, such as these, take on what are called multiple entry vectors. So it's not simply someone coming onto the internet and getting onto the Defense Department computer. It usually involves someone on the inside, knowingly or unknowingly. One trick that was used was to just leave scattered about in the Pentagon parking lot memory sticks. So a good citizen would see it, pick it up, take it to his computer at the Pentagon, plug it in to find out who it belongs to so they could return it, and that's all it takes. Because under the USB, if there are certain files on the system, the OS will read that into the machine and execute it. So even a good Samaritan act that seems innocuous enough is enough to start things going, and it doesn't take much after that. The thing to keep in mind as I talk, although I'll try not, you have to excuse me, the camera's here. So is that when I say it doesn't take much, you have to imagine the machine speeds that our computers operate these days. Even your home computer, which is relatively inexpensive machine, runs at what are called gigahertz, which is billions of cycles per second, 2 or 3 gigahertz. And those machines are designed for every cycle to execute one instruction. So if you can imagine a 3 gigahertz machine can execute in 1 second 1 billion things. So it's beyond what the human mind can imagine. It doesn't take long. A second is a tremendous amount of time for a machine. It can do lots in a second. So just something innocuous as that. Another way that malware gets into your machine is that you'll get email. And sometimes the email looks innocent enough because the attacks are well planned. By that I mean they may start off by hacking into someone's cell phone or stealing a cell phone and getting a list of email addresses. And then if I've stolen Smith's email list, I then send email to people in that list pretending to come from Joe Smith. So it looks innocent. When that person clicks on that email because they think it's his friend or her friend, bam, the malware is executed. So it doesn't take much, and these attacks are not as simple as sometimes the newspaper make them out to be. They're sometimes very well planned, involving multiple attack vectors. By an attack vector, how is it that the malware gets into the machine? The things I just described are sometimes known as human engineering, where in other words, or social engineering, where they're trying to manipulate people into taking actions on their machines that they normally might not take. Not because they're suspicious, just because they're, typically do these things. So they'll, send a page that comes up and says, your bank account has bounced a check. Would you please click on this thing to find out so we can correct it? And these pages look like the real thing. And if you're caught off guard, it's very easy to click. But once you click, it's typically all over. Now, if any of you have experienced having a machine that's been compromised, you might have noticed that depending upon the compromise, the machine becomes unusable. There's so much junk on it, and its execution, its cycles, the things that it's doing so much of for the bad guys that it can't respond even sometimes to your mouse clicks or your cursor movements. So your machine is completely subverted. And I'll talk a little bit more about what that means.